Hello, we are live. It is 6:15. Hello, welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and bees. Welcome to the show that answers the question: Why is Neil going to get arrested? Um, Today we are reacting, and we are reacting to Meganode, and we have all the permissions from him. He's not gonna ANI us, which means that he's not going to claim it on copyright. That's why it was important to take permission before. Ooh, hold on, mic, perfect. Okay, good. Okay, just going through the chat quickly. It is simple. It is quite literally like there are hundreds and thousands of people applying for immigration. When the issue starts with do we like this country? Yes or no. If there is more tension between two countries, like it is that there's a tension between India and literally everyone else, they are going to not let you in as a rule. So they're going to make more delays, artificial delays. And when things get better, they're going to start being like, now everything is processing fast magically. And that's how it's going to go. So the more issues a country has with other countries, the less frequently or the slower it's going to be for people to get a visa to the other country. So, and India is like literally nowhere anymore. So it's like obviously the delays are going to be there. They are unavoidable. And we are just going to have to suffer through because India voted for Modi and Modi sucks. And now you know why I'm gonna get arrested in India. Anyway, so we are going to react. We'll start eventually. I swear to you, this stream was supposed to start on Thursday, and this is the time where I answer like general whatever, like what's going on in life. You should enable some money donating link to you for supporting people who want to support will too. See, I can do that. I will eventually at one point because I really want to start donating to protests. Like we covered the Jharkhand protests recently. So I would really like to start something as a donating channel for them precisely. But right now, unless we have like 500 followers and we have like 3,000 views or something, I can't monetize the channel. That is the problem. Because see, I can start, what was the thing that everyone keeps doing? What was the thing? This is the starting with the P, like buy me a coffee, for example, or Patreon. So the thing is, for Patreon or buy me a coffee or something, there needs to be something I can give to you. Like, I'm not just going to take like charities. Sure, we can do charity streams and shit like this, and we can do charities for that. But unless we are doing like a very specific charity stream for something else, doing something without you getting anything out of it extra, because like again, you're paying me. And this is just me doing this for people of India, like to like give out a message, give out an advocacy that there are ways of thinking than just thinking like a Sanghi. And it's normal and it's okay. I don't want to monetize it. Not like if natural monetization comes in, it comes in. Or else it just ends up becoming a grift. See, the thing is, a lot of times when you have something like this, it ends up becoming a grift. I don't want it to become a grift. Plus, I currently have a job. Like, that's why, like, there was a stream supposed to happen on fucking Thursday. But I couldn't because I was in the lab most of the day working. So I'm like, we have so much to talk about, Jesus Christ. But yeah, that is a good idea. I should probably start buying me a coffee or something. And all of the proceeds, and I can add some money, and that all goes to like a charity of whoever we choose per week. I'm honestly not doing this for money. And I don't want it to be for money. Like I will never, like, the best thing I think I'll ever do is if I want to ever, like, the money aspect of it is after we get like a bunch of followers, and then after maybe like sell t-shirts, I guess. Like I really want, like, I have this idea for the Papakshi t-shirt, like maybe Papakshi kind of a shit. and like I want to wear it myself. Like I'm not, I want to do this so I can wear it as well. And just selling those because I have to send one to Nofi, I have to send one to like I mean I'll send one to Slayer for free anyway. Like Gaurav, if you want one, we can sell those t-shirts. But like Patreon requires you to like ideally like give something back as well. It's not free. I can send a thank you video. That is one thing I can do. But you know the funny part of this. So recently, as it happens, I have like the Hindutva. You guys know the Hindutva night, right? Because I am pretty sure that guy jerks off to this stream because like he will randomly comment like start teasing me on my main channel. Yeah, the guy quite literally, I thought like when I started with like Twitter first, like seriously, I thought that was like Dua Lipa or something. Because I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Like मुझे ऐसा क्यों लग रहा है कि why is this shit going on? Like I'm a little bit slow. So I was like, what the fuck? Like who the fuck is this? But right now this guy is just following me around every 5 seconds. Like agar kuch bhi out of, yeah, he definitely jerks off to me. Oh yeah, you said, I know, that's how I got the idea. I'm serious. This guy definitely jerks off to me. बंदा पीछे पड़ा के पड़ा है. और it's not even like I am someone who matters on like online or anything. मेरे 500 फॉलोअर है, उसके 50,000 है. पर बंदे के 50,000 बहुत ज्यादा है. That is for sure. Because like if you have noticed, like मेरा जब भी कुछ ऐसे ऑनलाइन वायरल हो गया है to the like a 1 million views or whatever. So 90% of the replies that come from hardcore Sangis are a copy of like these main channel ke duplicate. Like they are just copies of it. It is quite literally the same thing. I'm not even kidding. After a point, I don't even close my chat replies because I'm like, oh, itna hate mil raha hai. No, I can take all the hate shit they can give me, all of it. I don't give a shit. Like बचपन से मैं बड़ा हुआ हूँ ना, so my parents like used to give me hate. ये इनका हेट मुझे कुछ लगने नहीं वाला है. लाइक बचपन से मुझे कालूराम बुला रहा है बिकॉज माई एंटायर फैमिली इज वाइट. लाइक आई एम नॉट इवन जोकिंग, आई एम द ओनली लाइक डार्कर पर्सन इन द फैमिली समहाउ. सो it's like, but they are just so consistently the same. Like I cannot believe how same these guys are. एक say copy paste the message and paste it down and it gets fucking boring. Like do better. Like मेरे को hate दो, मुझे चलता है. Do better. बोर मत करो यार. Oh yeah, like also hardcore Sanghis are like internalized homophobia, gay people. Like I'm not. This is not something like tir pe tir maar de with observation. Most of these hardcore Sanghis are predominantly part of the LGBT community who have been pushed into this ideology because of the greater society that we live in. It's like they're forced into like either you become like an extreme Hindutva or we are going to make you go pariah basically. Salah jitna Hindi क्यों निकल रहा है, I don't understand. Like this is supposed to be like an English stream mostly. Anyway, so also like okay, this is another thing that comes up. So many Sanghis, I'm sorry, like no specific names, but there's a lot of Sanghis that come into my DMs later. पहले गाली देते हैं, फिर DMs में आते हैं और बोलते हैं भाई तू कितना हॉट है. कुछ भी मतलब. And like legit Sanghis man, legit Sanghis. I'm like, I have like this कि एक साइड से मुझे गाली मिल रहा है कि on like public में, and then उनका DM में चल रहा है hot है, you want pics of me or something. And I'm like, dude, बेंचो, at least consistency रखो ना भाई. ये सोमड़ी में कोमड़ी चल रहा है. Like कुछ भी मतलब. तुमको गाली देना है तो गाली दो, इधर भी गाली दो ना, तो दोनों तरफा क्यों मार रहे हो. अरे यार ये सब चीज़ में मैं वो वीडियो भूल गया. How do I get to that video, man? See, this is why you come to the stream. For me to shit on Sanghis and then worry about why is nothing working. How is it that I can't see your comment, but I can see your comment in the chat? Hold on. See, you can see this comment, right, Gaurav? Like, तेरे को चैट दिख रहा है यहाँ पे, मुझे नहीं दिख रहा है in my interface here. ये क्या बकवास है? Like, I'll reply to you, give me a second when I can actually read the damn shit. Yeah, a lot of right wingers are chasers. That is true. Like the amount of right wingers who text LGBT community people saying, like, send pictures or shit is just way too many. Way too many. And at the end of the day, like, these are so fucking creepy people, man. Like, if you are just part of the flag, just come out and say it. Like, no one, like, it's not like we are not gonna accept you. Like, ऐसा कभी नहीं होने वाला है कि you don't get accepted as part of the flag is just because you come. That's the whole point of it, to live openly and freely. पर इनका internalized homophobia इतना चलता है ना. Hold on, I read somewhere that see, the thing is, again, why isn't this coming? I need to change something. Like, Gaurav, I finally, yeah. I read somewhere that homophobic people are likely bisexuals because they think it's possible to love the opposite gender as they were able to. So it's like, yes, yeah. That's like, you can also be like, they can be completely gay and like choosingly me, or like I will be with a woman. Then I will be like, I'll have to force myself into being with a woman, or if I'll force myself into being with a man, so why can't you? See, they are either bisexual or have repressed sexualities. Yeah, that's why they are extremely homophobic. And a lot of them are. And a lot of them are not surprisingly per se, but it is like a lot of them are extremely pedophilic. Like, all of these people, जो बोलते हैं like homophobia is a curse, वगैरह, are pedophilic. And it has consistently come out. Consistently. Yeah, see, the weirder thing is, you guys could see the chat on the screen. I couldn't see it on OBS. Which is extra weird because that is quite literally a copy of the other. Anyway, history. Okay, how am I so stupid? Like, how can I not manage this stream after how many streams? Like 7, 8, 10? How am I so stupid in this? Anyway, if any one of you want to ask me something, ask. Yeah, we are reacting to it. Like, मैं ढूंढ रहा हूँ भाई वो क्यों मैं अलग ही गधा हूँ. I don't know where you guys stand on this. If anyone wants to quickly ask me something of personal life का वगैरह अभी पूछ लो, then we'll start and then we are not going to stop. कोई नहीं, चलो ठीक है. Okay, so we are reacting to Meghanut's video on why is everyone obsessed on government jobs. So his obsession part is fine. That is not a problem. The problem comes in like later. This is not also something regarding queers and right wing. What? No, you want to get it covered, Kaj? We can cover it. There's so much I want to say about queers and right wing. So many queers in the right wing. For some reason, the repressed people. I feel bad for them, honestly. Anyway. So, let me get this straight. A lot of people who were gay even by earlier are today super homophobic and hard. Yes, that is true. Mostly because comes down to like acceptance, right? They are not accepted. Like, unka acceptance is dependent on like, oh, are you going to be able to stand with like the right-wing folk because that's all the people they have around them. And if they don't reflect that ideology, they get like cast away. So they get repressed more and more. It has happened throughout. Like who's the recent grifter that we were talking about? The guy who was like, oh, all like he supports Meloni and like her homophobic shit with like gay couples and lesbians couples shouldn't marry, but then at the end of the day, what ends up happening is like the guy himself boasts like he's at least bisexual. De Desi Mojito. So he's like, guy is at least bisexual himself as far as he says he is. And then he's just calling himself a pedophile at that point. So it's like, so maybe he's just like self-reflecting, like uska computer ko jaake check karo. At least he's into lolicon. I can guarantee you as much. Like, not like people fail to understand that even if pedophilia, hold on, I'm gonna main screen this. Fuck it. If pedophilia is your like parameter on why people shouldn't adopt, straight people, heterosexual couples should never be allowed to adopt. There are so many motherfucking cases where like heterosexual couples will get children from adoption because it's easier, and then like try and get them into pedophilia and like abuse them basically. There are cases where they like adopt children for specifically to put them into like porn or like sell them off or whatever. There are entire organizations that are established on this idea, like the Kirk lady who was like Erica Kirk, or sorry, abhi Erica JD Vance bolna chahiye. So that lady quite literally ran a foundation that like literally kidnapped women, straight as fuck, epitome of like a right-wing straight woman heterosexuality. Queens on the other hand, trans people on the other hand, LGBTQ people on the other hand, are vehemently against this because they have gone through this themselves as children. A lot of them are first of all sexually oppressed. They can't express their sexuality. Secondly, when they do it, they are harassed and abused sexually. They are harassed and abused physically. So you are not going to find a group of people more involved in protecting children than the LGBTQ. They know what it's like to be the other in every conversation that children normally feel as. They know how to talk to people because they have gone through much worse than anyone can ever imagine. And then right-wing fuckers who are one of the major reasons for pedophilia come up and be like, no, we shouldn't let like LGBTQ people have children because pedophilia concerns. Like, what the actual fuck? Like, remember how we say about Israel? It's the same with these guys. It's like every single accusation is a confession. Like their right-wing Supreme Trump is on the Epstein files more than anyone. Literally, I shit you not, Epstein has said that the worst person we can find is Trump. Like the literal sex trafficker तुम्हारी बदनामी कर रहा है in his fucking letters. How do you go? Like, how do you make sense of that? Like, tell me. Like, उससे बड़ा insult क्या हो सकता है? No, like grifter definitely not gay. Definitely not gay. Like, guy is a grifter supreme. Or he's either a grifter or bisexual who's just trying to like get like support. Why do I understand bisexual hate now? I hate it. Why? It was nice before when I didn't understand bisexual hate. Sala hating it myself. Like, okay, fine, fair. Like, I do hate myself a lot anyway. Anyway, shit, again. You guys bring up topics and I can't think straight after 5 minutes after. I hate all of you. Like, where is Piyush? Sala, like, someone could tag Piyush, man. Like, legit. Banda disappears when the time comes. Anyway, also, yeah, we will cover Dhruv Rathi as well eventually. No, your comments are not visible. I'm sorry. Gaurav. Arey, you know, I honestly thought you were like a natural subscriber. I'm crying now internally. Anyway. Yeah, Gaurav, I'm sorry. You're basically banned from YouTube now. Hold on. Yeah. Perfect. So, okay, let's start again this because this is going to be its own video, short form. Okay, we are talking about India is obsessed with government jobs video by Megnard. The whole concept is not something that there's anything is like bad or anything with it. Some of these points are correct, and I really hope that this doesn't come out as like too mean or something because I really don't really want it to be. If you can go follow him, I'm pretty sure out of like the 30 people that watch these videos after at least 100 people that watch these videos, everyone is already following him. There is, I don't think anyone over in these chats at least has not been following Megnard. His ideas are good. There is no hate. Just being clear. Don't go hate on him later. We are going to just talk about government jobs and why they are important and why some of his points I do not agree with. Again, my personal opinions. There is no hate to make that. Anyone can think whatever they want. You can be in any camp in this scenario. It doesn't matter. There is no hate to go around. I will say this again. If you in the future find this video, again, I will say this again. There is no hate going around. Do not hate on anyone. Thank you very much. And if you are a Megnard supporter and you hate me reacting to this, go ahead and send the hate in the comments because honestly, I need that engagement. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to push forward this.
Spiraled out of control. This happening for years now. 2 crore people chasing 90,000 government jobs, MBAs applying to be constables, engineers applying to be peons, 25 lakh people applying for 6,000 posts. We see these headlines repeatedly and yet no one finds it strange anymore. It's the sad reality that we live in. If you want jobs, go to the government to get one. This mood is
which is honestly like here, I think this is just a lack of government ability to give jobs. It's not about like government shouldn't give jobs. Government should. It is like their main use of the government is to give jobs, is to give the money, is to take care of its people. Saying that government shouldn't give jobs is wrong. And I'm not saying he said it, the implication sounds like it. You should always go to the government for jobs. At the end of the day, the job market is dependent on the government.
Is reflective in Bihar as well. As a part of their election promises, the NDA and Mahagathbandhan both promised more government jobs when they come to power.
हम लोगों ने जनता के सामने प्रण लिया है, संकल्प लिया है कि ऐसा कोई परिवार नहीं जिस परिवार के पास अगर सरकारी नौकरी है और जिन परिवार के पास सरकारी नौकरी नहीं है उन परिवार को एक सरकारी नौकरी तेजस्वी देगा.
That's Tejasvi Yadav saying if the Mahagathbandhan comes to power, one person in every house in Bihar will get a job. That's about 2.8 crore jobs, by the way. Well, they lost badly, but then we have the NDA, which is promising 1 crore new jobs.
सबसे पहले है हर युवा को नौकरी और रोजगार देना। 1 करोड़ से अधिक सरकारी नौकरी रोजगार प्रदान करना।
Even before.
See, remember we covered this during the live stream for when we were doing the Bihar live streams during what was the thing? During when we were covering the manifestos. Yeah, we covered this. It is absolutely stupid to say that you're going to give this many jobs, and he's going to say the same thing. I'm just saying the same thing as well.
Before I start this video, let me just say that this is ridiculous. Did you know that the total number of people employed by the central government is, wait for it, 36.5 lakh. Even in the state of Bihar itself, the total number of people employed by the state government right now comes to 23 lakh. So,
oh, you're just saying you remember.
1 crore jobs in Bihar alone. How and why? Do you remember this?
ये मंत्र है मिनिमम गवर्नमेंट मैक्सिमम गवर्नेंस.
I honestly don't remember that. But honestly, anything related to Modi, I don't remember. He lies so much. I'm just like, एक कान से लो दूसरे कान से छोड़ दो. साला झूठ पे झूठ बोलते हैं.
ये एफिशिएंट और इफेक्टिव गवर्नेंस का मंत्र है.
Prime influencer Narendra Modi used to tell us that he is going to reduce the size of government and increase efficiency. But now he and his party are doing the opposite. Their alliance is promising 1 crore government jobs in Bihar. Again, how and why? This is a video about why Indians are dying to work for the government. This is a video about how all governments are clueless about how to handle unemployment. This is a video about how giving more government jobs to more people is a bloody terrible idea. On that,
This is where we disagree, because I'm like, giving more jobs to people is not a terrible idea. Is the whole point of the government, honestly. If your government cannot provide for you, who is going to? Like, your government is your direct caretaker. Like, the reason why you pay your taxes, where you live is like, you are the government. You are part of it. Whether you like it or not, you are a political being. You live under the political structure that was created for you. And because you are a citizen of a country, the government of the country should be serving you into getting you a job, whether in corporate, whether in not corporate. In that scenario, any government, whatever it may be, is directly responsible for you getting a job. Directly. It is not about how well you are educated. It is not about that. All comes later. That comes very late in the equation. If your government cannot provide you a job, the necessary standard of life and living, even it's kind of a pointless and stupid government, which you should not be voting for in the first place. Like, I'll give you a direct example. Like, after college, you as a person, like, a lot of people go for these job whatever bureaus, right? Like, you have to apply, like, campus placement kehte hain. So what is a campus placement in the first place? The companies are looking for new meat, and it is a direct result of policies your government makes. Like, nahi, you have to hire these many people. We are going to give you a tax break for hiring these many people, wagera, wagera. That's why they're hiring. Like, a company is not going to give you a job just because if it, like, it is not like a NGO. It's a for-profit organization, right? A for-profit organization is going to look into maximizing their profits. They are not just going to give you a job. They need to be made to give you a job. They need to be put in a position where they have to give you a job. because the Indian government has not done it since ever. This is not like even like a BJP specific issue, although it is much worse in the BJP, because India's GDP might be growing, GDP per capita is reducing. We do not apply for what's the word for it? We do not take subscriptions. We do not do the same shit like Americans do, or we are not a society that thinks about buying a lot of things like other treats that we live, that we don't get treats, we don't buy treats for ourselves anymore because we can't, first of all. And fixing that issue where we do not have disposable incomes means that we do not have shit like Walmart, we do not have other companies that want to invest in India, we do not have a manufacturing center, we do not have an online retail. Why so many of like YouTubers is, for example, because we're talking about YouTubers, cannot be like, subscribe to me and then you can pay me out from like stickers or whatever. That doesn't work precisely in India, because Indians inherently cannot buy anything. Because like even if I start, like for example, if I start here like, oh, this is like a paid subscription or whatever, Indians inherently are not, like a majority of Indians, I'm not saying like the specific few or like middle class, a little bit higher, people with jobs who can have disposable income. That is not what I'm talking about. A majority of India, and what we base our, oh, look how many people we have thing, cannot buy those services because they don't have a disposable income on them. They can't buy the treats you and me can. They can't like go out and have like a rasgulla at the stall or whatever. I don't know why I thought of rasgullas. But that, for example, because all of that leads to more companies coming in if they can do it, and which means you're gonna get jobs on the side for those companies to work. The whole thing is the government is actually responsible for you getting a job, whether you like it or not, whether you want to think of it as not, like corporate job or government job, or the government is still responsible for you getting the job. And one of the reasons why we see a lot of these people, not when like initially starting my video jab hua, so we see a lot of these people like coming in the lakhs to get to like one job, there's an example, like 50,000 people showed up for a job with 133 seats. A lot of them shows up because corporate also does not have the jobs to accommodate them. So they are like, hamara hope abhi government pe hai. But the government is doing shit all to give them jobs in the first place. So like that equation doesn't really work. Anyway, let's continue.
I have a bunch of thoughts.
I really like his editing sometimes. Sometimes it's, I don't know, but sometimes I really like him.
Let's face it, this is what India is: absolute chaos. Just 5 years ago, we saw how fellow Indian citizens were forced to walk for days to go back home during the pandemic. Just imagine for a second what that must have been like. One day, you're
Still mute pe. Like mute pe nikal ke bhi mute pe. No, India. See, I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like when people say, oh, India is chaos. And I'm sorry. Like, I'm very sorry. Like, yeah, I realized it like 5 seconds later. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking stupid. Yeah. So, like, this is the thing that I don't like when people say, like, oh, India is chaos. No, India is not chaos. India is not chaos by choice. No one likes to live this way. India is chaos because our lack of a social structure that stops this chaos, that organizes us. When COVID happened, like there was a huge migration of people because the government just said, fuck you, now go home however you want. We are not going to do shit for you. So people walked because they didn't have a choice, because we have a lack of governance. We don't have a lack of anything else, because people have become so complacent in this idea that, the government cannot be changed, or my vote doesn't matter, or like जीतना है तो जो जीतना है वो जीतेगी, हमारा क्या है? That is the problem. And like whenever someone tries to say anything against them, the government clamps down on them and suppresses them. That is the problem. India is not chaos. India is not terrible. India is fine. Like you can accuse me of having like rose-colored glasses over this, but still, I do not choose to view it like that. I choose to view it like in the sense of like people are still gonna help people. Like a lot of times, I have experienced this myself. I've seen this myself. People have helped people even if it was chaos. People are not bad people in India. They are just people. Like this is normal in every single country. The only difference that happens is how good or bad the governance is.
You're working hard at a construction site. Next day, you are told to either stay at your temporary housing or go back to the state where you came from. A singular government decision can upturn the lives of the most vulnerable people in our society. All it takes is one health emergency, one illness, one accident, and an entire family can be pushed back into desperate poverty. Chaos. That is the feature of our country. That is what our country is. We can't make plans because you never know what non-biological diktat will come your way tomorrow from up above. So it's simple. Indians for decades have been in search of stability. They want to counter this chaos. They need security. How does one do that? Okay, just imagine a government office. What do you see? Bored people coming in late, sitting on their desk doing menial clerical tasks. The atmosphere is quiet and uninteresting. If you have been to one of these places, you will notice that it's an environment that is devoid of any excitement, any sort of movement. There is a meme on it as well.
See, I'm telling you, I'm shit at this. Why? Why? Yeah, okay. Better.
Yeah, the sloth is what defines government, honestly. You see, the government office is
Okay, I'm going to say this once, and maybe I'll say this 1,000 times again. That this whole idea that the government is slow or the bureaucracy is slow is a lie. It's a capitalistic lie because they want you to, or like rather not even a capitalistic, like a fascist lie, that they want it to be shown that, oh, bureaucracy is slow, bureaucracy is bad, bureaucracy is something that is wrong and you should not look forward to it, because that is the exact reasoning that Hitler as well used. That is the reasoning that Trump has used in America or Modi has used in India to gain more power. We have to think this through when we say something like this, that bureaucracy is slow, because, and I'm not, and this is not a comment to Meghnad. Let me just be clear. This is me not talking to him. I'm talking to the audience here. We have to be more aware when we say bureaucracy is slow, because bureaucracy is slow because of bad governance. It is not slow because it doesn't work. Bureaucracy is slow because this idea has been prevalent that bureaucracy is slow. It's not actually really slow. It has a procedure, it has a way. It is overtly complicated right now because of bad governance. But it is the one of the only stopgaps between full-blown authoritarianism and a functioning democracy. If rules are the reason why those rules are there is because the rules, if not followed, any person can take up arms or like take up the lead and be an authoritarian dictator, and there's no one to stop him if people stop following rules. That is the problem in India right now, because people are not following rules. Like the SC, the current executive is not following the rules and the procedure. They are not going by law per se. The law is always interpreted. The law is always like mended, bent here to favor a party or the other. That happens because the rules are not being followed. Bureaucracy is made slow, where the high courts and the SCs and the lower courts and whatever will only see like cases that are important for their narrative. Like not all cases get the equal weightage. Like there, we can't have a date for like Umar Khalid's bail hearing that keeps getting postponed over and over again. But like the other Babu, who's a rapist, already convicted, gets a bail every 6 months for 6 months. Like हर 6 महीने को बंदे को bail मिलता है. But Umar Khalid can't get a bail. This is also part of how bureaucracy has been broken down. Because it was thought like Modi came into power with this idea that your bureaucracy is slow. There's an example later in the video that says bureaucracy, Modi saying, oh, we actually happened before. Sorry. That Modi came into power saying that we'll have minimum governance, maximum governance, government, minimum government, maximum governance. That is authoritarian speak. You don't want that. You want the government to be more involved in your lives so that it can make your lives better. When you talk about like minimum government, that means the government is not going to work for you, because obviously for a country of like 1.4 billion people, the government needs to be as big, not smaller, bigger. Anyway.
Designed to be a counter to the chaos outside. The bureaucracy within these offices have one singular task: keep your head down and maintain the status quo. No private job or temporary gig can promise the security that you get from a government job today. And you know what? All of this is by design, quite literally. This is Article 311 of the Constitution of India. It says,
hold on. GDP depends on consumption. Indian GDP rising because shits are selling. It's not. It is a far more complicated, and we'll get to it. First, we are looking into the Meghner thing, because मैंने उस बंदे का permission लिया है, and he has given me permission to cover this for now. So let's just go through that first. And so, hi Swaraj, it's a long time, man. I'm sorry, I'll reply to you on Twitter. I just having such fucking long days, man. Like Jesus fucking Christ. You like seriously, be on the Discord. I am more active. Mostly because wahan pe I can like cry about stuff, and it's the nice group of people and we can talk nicely. We'll talk about GDP, don't worry. Like give it time, please. Thank you.
Says no person employed in civil capacities under the union or state shall be dismissed or removed except after an inquiry. Translation.
Which is good. Like which is this whole idea that you can't reveal a civil servant or a government worker is to protect from governmental abuse of that person and people not willing to go against the government. Andabak said temple is big economic hub and we need to build temple for What? Video quality खराब है? What? कब से? क्या हुआ? What is the video? What is happening? How is video quality खराब? Is this not 920? What? Is this not 920? What the fuck? Like मेरे को अलग से टेंशन लाइक रक्षित आइसवेरी अगर तेरा वीडियो सेटिंग कम होगा तो मेरे को फुकट में टेंशन मत दे. Hold on, let me check this. Why isn't this working now? Like मुझे फुकट में, hold on. My nose is so shiny. Jesus. Yeah, I'm getting like 180p, 60 FPS. Swaraj, I swear, तू मुझे मार के छोड़ेगा. Like I am like, look, I have the stream open right here as well. I look pila pila a lot. I understand that is unavoidable. अरे यार. Swara, like तुमको, like you don't even need to take premium. Just take revanced. But मैं इतना गंदा टेंशन, because I have had these issues with like OBS कि like the shit comes off like oh my fucking god, like it खराब ये हो जाता है automatically OBS पे. Jesus, hold on, we are going back, I swear. Like अलग ही टेंशन दिए जा रहा है भाई मुझे तू. I swear, Rakshit, I'm gonna give you this video to edit now. I don't care. Like, yes. तूने मेरा बीपी बढ़ा दिया भाई. See, one of the most important things in a video is the quality of the video. People don't watch video that are of bad quality. You at least need to have 920 by 180p. Jesus. Anyway, going back to this, Rakshit, now you have to stay throughout. And I'm going to give you this video to edit. Jaan jati hai bhai.
Translation? Well, once you get
I bet Hindutva Knight will have a nice stroke on. Yeah, he will. He will. Arey, you're fine, Swaraj. You're fine, Swaraj. Don't worry about it too much.
in government, you cannot be
Also, join the goddamn Discord, man. Like, seriously. If you want to talk to people that are similar to us more rather than texting me on Twitter, which I don't fucking check 100% of the time, like, just join Discord. Like, Twitter chat nahi dekhta main. For very good reason. Because I get a lot of hate over there. Also love comments.
fired unless you commit a crime that is so bad that even your minister who has been blessing you all along can't really save you. Yeah, you can't be fired. You can be
That's a good
transferred.
thing.
You can be given warnings. You can be
See, that is still a good thing at this point, because so it is to avoid pressure from the government. Never forget that. The only point of this is like, okay, you need to have people who are not worried about losing their job if they say something against the government. That's why this thing was there. The transfer thing is absolutely stupid. Yeah, I know.
can be temporarily suspended or
Let me just do this. Badna bhai, what is wrong with you? How do I increase the speed? I can't.
maybe given a punishment posting in the jungles of Jharkhand. But you cannot be fired. Article 311 is like the God clause reason for the obsession that our people have for government. And there is economic logic behind it as well. The average casual worker in rural India earns about 138 rupees a day. In comparison, a central public sector employee makes 2000 rupees plus a day with free housing, medical, pension and a lifetime supply of respect. That's roughly
That is the basic thing you're required for a job. Like, I'm not even joking. You should have a pension, car, more or less. That is not relevant. Housing and medical is a necessity. I will always be on this side of line that, like, medical is a necessity. That is not avoidable. You should have medical by any employer that you have, that any, like, fuck employers. You should have it from the government directly. Every single person in India should. in developed nations, people do not have a craze. No, they do. They do. India ka zara situation alag hai. We're looking at this the wrong way. That is the whole point.
15 times more money plus infinite stability. Why would anyone risk the chaos of capitalism when the state literally pays you to stay as it is and practically do nothing? In fact, it pays.
He said this like that is the whole point, right? Also, not practically do nothing. Come on, that is a bit too much. That is a little bit mean-spirited against government jobs. Government still functions, right?
You not to disrupt shit and let things as they are. Yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to that.
See, not disrupting shit and letting things the way they are is a matter of how the government, like how corrupt the government is and how they're not letting people do shit. The function of the laws that we are based all of this shit on are pushed forward, and he's going to give an example of a person who started all of this, Max Weber. So they wanted people to have like an individual thought about these things. Our extra governmental control is a different issue altogether. The whole point of this is like combining them is kind of wrong.
But look at this. According to the 7th Pay Commission, the lowest ranked government employee earns 18,000 rupees a month. For officers at the entry level, the salary is 58,000 rupees per month. A joint secretary gets 1.8 lakh, secretary 2.25 lakh, and cabinet secretary, which is the highest rank, will get 2.5 lakh rupees a month. Compare this to a corporate job. A new joinee will get somewhere between 25,000 and 2.5 lakh a month. I mean, it's a wild range there, I know. It gets wilder the higher you go. Middle manager 80,000 to 5.8 lakh. Senior manager 2.5 lakh to 25 lakh. And CEO will get anything between the range of 12.5 lakh to 2.5 crore a month. If you compare these two, you would think,
hey, corporate job seems nice. Yeah, I mean, look at how much money you can earn. 2.5 crore. Are you kidding me? That seems nice.
there is more possibility of earning a buttload of money in the private sector. Of course, there.
Okay, that is wrong. There is not more possibility of earning in the public sector as compared to the government sector. Mostly because there is one CEO. There are like a couple 10, 20 managerial positions underneath the CEO. Then it's a pyramid structure. And they are not going to pay you willy-nilly. First of all, they don't pay you for the work you do. They pay you as a factor of how much irreplaceable you are or not. The people on the bottom, highly replaceable. At will, like the whole idea in India is about at will employment, which means you can be fired at any point. They don't even need like, I don't even know if you get like money after for like a few months after you get fired. I don't know. India mein hota hai to it's decent, nahi hota hai then that's bad. The point is like, look at if you are going to become a CEO or whatever. If you have those dreams, first of all, that is a capitalistic lie. The whole point of capitalism is to show you a dream that you're going to make money. Your shit not going to make money. तुमको रगड़ना है खाली. Capitalism और feudalism में कोई फर्क नहीं है. The only difference, I always say this, capitalism is just feudalism with better PR. Repeat it in your head. So you're never going to reach the CEO position. You're never going to work your ass off as like a junior coder for like Google and become the CEO at the end of the day. नहीं होना तुम्हें से. They are going to get someone who is rich from the start and give him that position. ये सब झूठे वादे हैं. Like you're never getting there. I am sorry. Like whoever tells you that like there is going a lot of money in corporate, you just have to join at the base. No, there is not. If you're not connected, you're not gaining there. That is it. That is the funda of this capitalist society we live in. Jhoote waade.
Of course there is. But just think about the perks that come with a government job. First, you can't get fired and you'll get promoted if you just. sit there and do nothing and don't ruffle any feathers. Number 2, you will get government housing, car, driver, staff, subsidized phones, medical benefits for you and your family, pension, and a lot more. Third, and this is most important, you get clout, you get power. Okay, all of this is great. Simple points, very intuitive, but on this channel, we go deep. Let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about why it is this way? Why does Article 311, this God clause, even exist? Why does the bureaucracy exist even? It's time for a super deep cut on this video. Yeah, so subscribe for this content first. Subscribe for best content on the Indian internet. ऐसे videos कोई नहीं करता है. Lamba lamba. Also, please watch. Okay, now let us.
Did you just say lamba lamba videos कोई नहीं करता है? I came after like working 6 days long in a lab for like 12 hours every day to be here. Go subscribe. Oh, और एक नया चीज निकला है, hyping something. Go hype these videos. I don't know what that is. I'm so afraid to even ask.
Here's the question. Why does the government exist? Why do we need this gigantic system full of bureaucrats, or as we like to call them in India, babus, to run our society? German sociologist Max Weber figured this out about 100 years ago. He called bureaucracy the most rational form of administration ever devised by man. Rational because
He's also the father of bureaucracy, by the way.
it runs on rules, hierarchies, and procedures, not whims, emotions, or sometimes even common sense. It's cold and calculating, what he said there. Weber further says, bureaucracy constitutes the most efficient, rational way in which human activity can be organized, and that systematic processes, organized hierarchies are necessary to maintain order, maximize efficiency, and eliminate favoritism. Bureaucracy, especially our Indian version of babudom, is obsessed with maintaining order. In a society like India with 1 billion plus people going about their lives, a single decision can have chaotic and unpredictable effects. I mean, the lockdown is only one example, but think about demonetization. One guy on TV says, oh, all your currency is useless now, and chaos. It can even be catastrophic. I mean, people literally die also. So, to prevent such chaos, or to be a counter to all of this chaos, the babudam's first instinct is to do what has always been done, which is do nothing. Especially nothing new. Don't do anything new. Just.
There is a difference here. The babudam that he mentions is Indian babudam. Max Weber, on the other hand, his whole thesis here, the father of bureaucracy, would, in his idea, because obviously this is more ideological of a conversation, he was more theoretical about it, this would be avoided because there are always checks and balances in the bureaucracy. These checks and balances have been eroded in the Indian bureaucratic system, where you are given like promotions, you're given whatever for not doing anything. This is antithetical to the idea of bureaucracy in the first place. Like this idea where you cannot be fired, you can you can't even be transferred, honestly, like in normal bureaucracy, where you can't be fired, you can't be taken out of your job. That goes with this duty of saying that, hey, you have to talk shit to your superiors. You have to bring up this idea that whatever you're thinking of is not right. You need to push back. That was the whole idea of bureaucracy. This idea came about after the Industrial Revolution. This idea was refined, like how the Nazi Party came into being in the first place. Like uske baad has been come up like, hey, you need a system that can talk back to your leaders and be like, hey, like, तुम चूतियापा कर रहे हो, be straight, be correct, don't do this chutiapa, basically. But this has been eroded within India, as we can see, as we move forward and forward into authoritarianism. That's why it sucks so badly. It doesn't suck so badly because bureaucracy is wrong. It sucks so badly because it has been eroded. Like, I'll give you an example of pharmaceuticals. In India, pharmaceuticals are shit. Because, like, there are no regulations around it. Like, you can be literally fed anything. People have, like, there are so many people have died drinking cough syrup. Like, there are children who have been dead because of cough syrup. This happened like last week and the week before. And like every few weeks, we have this idea that there's a certain pharmaceutical that has been published, like that has been given out to people, and people have died because of it. Now, it's not a problem of the pharmaceutical system as a whole. It is a problem of the checks and balances and the regulations that the government puts around it, where the government should be controlling these pharmaceutical companies to the point where they should not even dare to push forward a medicine that is potentially harmful to you, like they do it in other countries, especially Europe. But that structure has been eroded completely. Because that structure has been eroded, now people think pharmaceutical as a whole thing is wrong, which is not true, which is just directly not true. Similarly, bureaucracy is a good idea. It is necessary. It is a stopgap between you going full authoritarian. But the whole bureaucracy is being eroded more and more and more because of an authoritarian person who wants to be in charge. That's why whenever you talk to, like, listen to like Modi speeches and shit, he's gonna be like, oh, हमको bureaucracy कम करना है. We are going to like push forward this idea that, oh, तुम्हारा काम जल्दी हो जाएगा. But they are the reason why तुम्हारा काम जल्दी क्यों नहीं हो रहा है, because they have reduced a lot of the money that goes to the bureaucrats. They have reduced people over there in positions. They have like to remove, like to use like Elon Musk's, like they wanted to remove government spending. Like with like the GDP conversation made, they have reduced government spending, which means they have reduced the manpower it requires to process all of the documentation for India. Like, look at any, he's going to, like, Meghanut is going to give a very good example of nurses. Like, that is the, like, where there are like a lot less nurses overall in India than there are, and there's a lot more patients in India, and India is nowhere. Like, nurses are highly pressured into working. Like, we need more funding to have more nurses. We need more funding to have more government doctors. Similarly, we need more funding to have more efficient government workers, even in offices, to do the work that is required. We do not need to cut in on that more because, again, fascism.
Hone do. Let it happen and watch.
Yes. All currency gone. What do we have to do now? Oh, okay. We have to exchange it. Oh, we have to replace the new currency in all ATMs overnight. Cool. We'll yeah, of course. Or option ही क्या है? Like, करेंगे. We'll do it. Yes, Modi ji, yes.
As I said, the goal here is stability and maintaining order. So bureaucrats have come up with a clever way to do it through repetition, with a lot of paperwork on top of it. Everyone in a government office will come in every day and do repeated tasks, day in and day out. There will be procedures and rules that everyone will have to follow. They're expected to follow without thinking too much about what they are really doing, until it becomes a habit which counters chaos and makes things predictably boring. There is this old British show called Yes.
See, that is the whole point against like what Max Weber didn't want, or Frederick Taylor, we'll come to him later, where they wanted to push for more individuality and they wanted to push for more like outlets for human expression. But India has been turned into this, where Indian bureaucracy, where everything is just slow and repeating rather. I'm not the best with words today.
Yes, Prime Minister, highly recommended, by the way, one of my favorite shows. There is this bureaucrat called Sir Humphrey. He explains the system quite nicely. He says the Prime Minister holds power, ministers have responsibility. Fortunately, the civil service retains control. Government isn't about good and evil, it is about order and chaos. By the way, a bit of a sidetrack. Speaking of British bureaucrats, did you know the current system of bureaucracy is a gift to us from our old erstwhile colonial masters, the British? Yes, between 1850.
So if you have been following me for a while, if you have looked into my Twitter, I have been always saying this as well. The British government gave us this whole thing. He'll explain it in a second. So I'm not going to do the work more or less. Thank you, Megnerd. But I'll give an example later of the Indian police system and how it is so much fucked. And one of the reasons why bureaucracy is the way it is in India. We'll get to it. Give Megnerd a chance to explain.
1958 and 1947, the British implemented an administrative system called the Indian Civil Service, or ICS. This system was implemented right after the 1857 rebellion. You know, the one with Mangal Pandey? Yeah, that one. Which came close to toppling the British Raj. Essentially, the British realized that the only way to control a chaotic, rebellious bunch of colonial population is to implement a system that is obsessed with maintaining order. Clive Dewey, a historian, said this about the ICS. In their heyday, they, Indian civil service, were mostly run by Englishmen with a few notable sons of Hindus and even fewer Muslims, were the most powerful officials in the empire, if not the world. A tiny cadre, a little over 1,000 strong, ruled more than 300 million Indians. The Indian civil service directed all the activities of the Anglo-Indian state. So, there were European overlords who had some Indian bureaucrats under them, which helped them rule over India. The ICS had the responsibility of maintaining law and order, and they were the ones who fought with our freedom fighters on the ground, crushing their anti-national activities, which were against the British. You get it? अब नहीं होता ये सब. अब नहीं होता ये सब. Jawaharlal Nehru often ridiculed the ICS for its support of British policies. He famously defined the ICS as something with which we are unfortunately still afflicted in this country as neither Indian nor civil nor a service. That's good old Nehru for you, showing the big middle finger to the bureaucracy and fighting the man in a classy way. And then when we got independence, our forefathers, including Nehru, decided to retain this organization and changed it to Indian Administrative Service, or IAS. Now, this is what frustrates me so much whenever I think about it. The name changed from ICS to IAS, but the objective didn't. In short, our bureaucracy under the British was never really meant to serve the public. It was meant to control the public. What do you think their job is now? मैं कुछ नहीं बोल रहा है. I mean, I guess it's the same. Back to Max Weber.
Okay, so the thing that I was going to explain. The Indian bureaucratic system is based as a two-tier system where the bottom people and the top people. Very clearly, it can be seen in police bharti. If you go to join the police, you can either go as a shipai or you can go as an officer or a captain or whatever you want to call it. So if you go through a shipai, you are basically starting at the very bottom of the rank. But you can avoid all of that just by doing some extra education. This makes it a two-tier system where either you join. If you join at the bottom, it's going to take you 5 years to reach the same position. You can just get into, like 5, not even 5, like 5-10 years that you can get into directly out of college. Which makes it so that the more privileged you are, the higher the position you will get. Which also means it is extremely biased towards the people who have the privilege of education, who have the money to be educated, who have the connections to be educated. And even within that, you have a basic casteism that goes on. On top of which, This is a system that was put forth by the British for us, and it is the same across India. There's no change. British themselves used to use this system at one point of time, but they changed to the point where, like, if you're getting into the police in Britain, you have to start at the bottom no matter who you are, and then you go up from there. India they have never replaced to that system. This system is used by literally every other government except the authoritarian ones. India, like, I don't know, this was by design, has kept the same system, because what it allows them to do is they can transfer out people who are not listening to them and transfer in people who are listening to them. So tomorrow, if you have a protest in the middle of, say, Mumbai, and you're talking about, say, AQI of Mumbai or Delhi, whatever, just replace whatever city you want. I just didn't want to use Delhi over and over again. Now, are you, as a person who is at the head of this, gonna give this order to suppress that protest against AQI to a person who's from Mumbai or Delhi, whatever, or who's not from there? You would obviously prefer to give this order to someone who has no connection to the land, who has no connection to the people. If your commissioner or police commissioner or whoever the fuck you want to talk about here is from, like, say, Jharkhand or like the south or like the northeast, whoever, and he's given this order to suppress the people in Mumbai, obviously he's going to do it because he has no connection to the people. But if you have this person who's from Mumbai as the commissioner of the police in Mumbai, he's going to have more connection to the people and understand that, hey, like, suppressing these people might not be the best idea because they are talking about the AQI of that city that I live in, my family lives in, my entire khandan has lived. That's the difference. That's the reason why they have this transfer system. That's why they have direct bharti into the upper echelons of upper echelons of the bureaucracy system, even in like civil service, police or whatever. That's why they can just like a Mumbaikar, if he's a commissioner of Mumbai, obviously he's going to support Mumbaikars more than the government. That's what they don't want. That's why they transfer in someone else from Delhi or Punjab or whatever, and then he's given the order. And then he's like, मेरा तो कुछ घंटा जाता नहीं है. If I don't follow this order, they'll transfer me out and get someone else. And I'm going to lose my seat in my AC building, in my AC house, with my AC car, with my AC purifier, whatever. So he's just going to follow the damn order, suppress the people. That is a control system in place by the British. The Congress never changed it. The BJP obviously are not going to change it. That is the problem.
He calls this the iron cage, a system so efficient that it ends up trapping its own people inside. Everyone in this cage is expected to maintain the status quo, let things be as they are. The giant machine needs stability, but this stability often turns into comfort and stagnation, decay even. Okay, let me show you a real life version of...
He said this as a way to have people, like, to push this idea that the stagnation should not be happening and you should actively do something to avoid it. Again, he's a father of bureaucracy. Uska hi bachcha hai. Like, you need to actively push against it. That's how, like, complacence happens, because not because you get too comfortable in your job. Like, people are always think, like, capitalists always think, like, if there is no push to do something, there is no, like, incentive, complacence will happen. That is not true. Complacence happens when you are pushed to doing something, but also every other outlet is switched off, and you are told that if you go to any other outlet, or you are going to be fired or transferred or whatever. And then you are like, why would ye fukad mein main magaj mari kyun karunga, because I'm just going to suffer for it and there is no one else to support me. When you erode those support systems, that's where complacence happens. When you have support system, everyone is going to end up, like, everyone is going to revolt. Everyone is going to talk out and speak out.
all of this in action. Take a look at this clip. This is IPS officer Hina, who stopped a random belligerent Hindutva warrior from celebrating his birthday in the middle of the road. No, seriously. I mean, I love how she goes all Jai Shri Ram on his ass, but there's a deeper message here. Actions like these, which show bureaucrats literally doing their jobs, they go batshit viral. Have you noticed? Officers like Hina Khan are then celebrated. They are hailed as heroes. Oh my god, look, this bureaucrat is doing amazing things. These clips go viral because they are very rare. They're so very rare. What they essentially show is one person, one bureaucrat, refusing to give in to the inertia, and we just lose our shit collectively. That's the level of decay we have reached. When a bureaucrat simply does their job, it feels like an act of rebellion. Just look up Ashok Khemka IAS officer transfer. No, seriously. Do it. He is a bureaucrat who has been transferred 57 times in 34 years because he rebelled against the great big babudam. He wanted to bring in efficiency wherever he was posted. He was exposing corruption within the bureaucracy, but then he was met with insane resistance at every step and eventually with a transfer order. Since they couldn't fire him, Article 311, they tried to put him into a corner and where he just can't cause it.
That is the whole point, right? That's the reason why Article 377 is there. Because so you can't fire him when someone is speaking out for corruption. The problem here happens when there is no support for him. Everyone needs support. He was transferred, he was still doing 57 times, he was still doing his job. That is the bureaucracy working, and he still couldn't be fired. That is the bureaucracy that was working. What wasn't working is the support the public is giving him into keeping him afloat, keeping him and like pushing his message forward. That is the problem. Because, okay, we gave an example of Hina Khan over there. We are surprised that he's like she's doing her job, etc., etc., etc. And that's good and then decent. But the majority of reason why IAS officers are not doing their job is because they do not have the support that they will be okay if they rebel against the government. We have basically given up on IAS officers at this point. We don't support them when they talk about against the government. We don't talk about them. We don't push for their like safety. There was this IAS officers, correct me if I'm wrong, who spoke against Modi and Amit Shah after the Godhra riots, the Godhra massacre that happened. So within it, he was someone who spoke against this. He was the only witness to Modi saying ki kuch mat karo, let the public rage out. He's one of those responsible for what happened with Muslims. So at that point, he has been in jail. He is still in jail. I don't even think they did a whole inquiry against him. I don't think he has been gone to court. I don't remember if he has been able to even get bail or even a bail hearing for that matter. And he is the only person who is a witness to this, to Modi saying what he'd said. We don't support these people. That is the problem. That's why they don't speak out. This is a lot more on us than it is about them. How can we expect IAS officers to do their jobs, what they have been permitted to, like that they have been assigned to do, when just doing their job makes them feel like, oh, no one is supporting us, or no one is going to come supporting us, like no one is going to come help us when shit goes wrong. Because see, the government is antagonistic. The government is going to tell them to do illegal shit because that's what the government want. What these like politicians want to do is do corruption. The IAS officers were supposed to be a stopgap, but because of this transfer shit, because of like SC going wild and not supporting IS officers, like the guy who was a whistleblower. Can someone please send me the name of the IS officer so I don't have to go check on the side? He's the whistleblower for Modi in Godhra. Who's still in jail apparently. Sanjeev Bhatt. He's a, yeah. So Sanjeev Bhatt, for example, yeah. Where is this? He has a, yeah, I don't know how, Jesus, why is this not happening? Maybe there's a news. Yeah. No. God. Yeah, there you go. So Sanjeev Bhatt. This is the guy who apparently was the only witness to Modi's Modi's command that do not do anything during the Godhra riots. And he's in jail right now for murder. A former top Indian policeman critical of the Prime Minister alleged role in deadly anti-Muslim riots in 2002 has been jailed for life. Sanjay Bhatt was convicted of murder in case dating back 30 years. He alleged that Mr. Modi, Chief Minister at the time, during the violence in Gujarat, told officials Hindus should be allowed to vent their anger against Muslims. More than 1,000 people, mostly Muslims, were killed in the violence. Mr. Modi has always denied any wrongdoing. What was the case against Bhatt? The murder conviction against Sanjeev Bhatt is in connection with the case in 1989 when he arrested more than 150 people during rioting. One of them later died in hospital after being released. The man's family alleges that he died after being tortured by Bhatt and several other police officers. Bhatt's like this is true. Like this is not true. I don't know if this is true among like this case, but Indian police does torture people in like in the police stations. That is just true. Like that has happened. Like their whole idea is दो थप्पड़ मार देंगे, एक पैर पे लाठी मार देंगे. You have a lot of TV shows that also show it, like Indian police. Like there is no law. I don't think that even if there is a law that protects you from police violence in India. Bhatt's conviction and sentencing were imposed by a session court in Gujarat state. He can appeal against the sentences, which he has, but I don't think he has gotten anything. He and his family have been previously alleged that he was targeted by the government because of his allegations against Modi. The state authorities accused him of fabricating evidence to implicate Modi, who became PM in 2014. So his fabrication is basically him being witness to it, right? Apparently that's fabricated. And riots erupted in Gujarat after that we know. Sanjay Bhatt was senior police officer in the Gujarat Intelligence Bureau at the time of the violence. He says his position allowed him to come across large amount of information and intelligence both before and during the violence, including the actions of senior administrative officers. He was sacked in 2015 after being suspended in 2011. In 2011, Supreme Court cleared Mr. Modi of violence of any riots. See, that's what I'm talking about, right? Because we don't support our own IS officers who talk against the government, which is their job. They are like, why should we? We are just going to be complacent at the end of the day. Why should they? That's why Hina Khan becomes such a like a side thing, right? Like what she did was admirable. What she has done is admirable, where she stood up to the babus and whatever. But that's why it feels so strange that some of these are doing anything, because there is no profit in them speaking against the government, even though it is part of their jobs. because the public are not going to support it. Who among us knew about Sanjay Bhatt before this? Who did? Because before until 6 months ago, I didn't know someone like this existed. Did you guys know about him? And yes, then why aren't we supporting him? Why aren't we talking about him?
Cause any damage. In short, our bureaucracy has not been designed to solve problems. It has been designed to run things as they are. If there are any changes that happen, they happen really, really slowly and almost forcefully. I mean, just take a look at
That I don't think is true. I think it is kept in stagnation for the government to push for control. Changes can happen if there is a will. There is no will. That is the problem.
any government website today. It looks like someone designed it 10 years ago and just left it that way. There are thousands of options available out there which would make them smoother, more efficient, prettier looking, and just better functioning. But the bureaucracy won't do that for at least 10 more years, and by then even that would be outdated. This situation, what I just described, is a bit of a paradox. I mean, think about it this way. You and I, the citizens of India, want change. But the people who are supposed to bring about that change and solve our problems are resisting change of any kind just to maintain order. And the worst part is, literally, lakhs of people are desperate to become a part of this babudam every year. Remember this. Yeah, the desperation is real. It's very real and scary. Now answer this. How the does this make sense? Yeah, why do so many people want to do this? One obvious answer, which I told you already, is stability and security. Of course. But I think it goes deeper than that. And it's called...
See, we are going to... Where is this? Yeah. We are going to ignore this part because log kya kahenge? I agree mostly with him. And it's kind of pointless to talk about this at this point because it's obvious. Go watch his video for the whole thing. It's getting late and I want to also talk about the GDP.
Name himself. Let's talk about...
It is such a stupid thing to have Modi on here, man. Also, lion, like minimum government, maximum, lion shouldn't be the thing. Lion does shit. Like in a pride, lion actually does shit.
मंत्र है minimum government, maximum governance.
Minimum government, maximum governance. This is a line Prime Influencer repeated when he came to power in 2014. Don't know about you, but when I heard this line for the first time, I interpreted it in the following way. Number 1, reduce the size of government by having less employees. Number 2, remove the excess to make it more efficient. Number 3, add to the efficiency of the government by using technology. In short, what I thought Modi ji wanted to do is to operate our government like a CEO who maximizes efficiency, not as a human resource manager.
Which is literally the worst thing ever. Like, no company runs with 100% efficiency. It focuses power onto the top, focuses money onto the top, and reduces monetary benefits for anyone who's below a certain level. That is not what you want. You don't want to run a company like a CEO would run a company, because their whole point is maximizing profit for themselves, not even the company per se. उनको खुद के wallet की पड़ी होती है. So running, like, also to be fair, he is running it like a CEO right now. नहीं तो इतना चूतियापन नहीं होता.
It is a decent thought because let's face it, our government does have a lot of bloat in it. It does not work properly even today. I mean, just look around you. Broken infrastructure, stalled projects, horrible air, insane rents, unaffordable housing.
That's a factor of government. That's not a factor of bureaucracy.
crumbling law and order, and a million other basic things which the government is supposed to do properly.
That's the issue with capitalism. That is what capitalism will do to your country. That is not bureaucracy. You can have bad bureaucracy, but in a socialist system, and these things will still work.
But doesn't. So it's not working. The big question we need to ask is, if there is an inefficient system that is in place, that is already in place, will throwing more human beings at it make it more efficient? In 2014, Modi ji was like,
No, this doesn't work for me. Minimum government, maximum governance it is. I don't like this.
That should have been a warning call that he's going to be a fascist dictator.
I don't think this is a good idea.
So what happened to that in 2025? Modi ji, if minimum government was the plan, why is the central government workforce larger today than it was 2 years ago? We went from roughly 3.17 million employees in 2023 to about 3.56 million in 2024. The sanctioned posts are still hovering around the 4 million mark. So even today, the total vacancies haven't exactly been filled. And that's why our netas are able to dangle this government job carrot in front of our faces, our young, desperate faces. This is precisely what is happening in Bihar. The NDA alliance is promising 10 million jobs, 1 crore jobs. In short, they want more people to be in Bihar government than even the central government. If this plan is put into action, then the state budget of Bihar will have to be increased by at least 30%, from 3 lakh crore rupees to 4.5 lakh crore rupees, just to pay the salaries of all of these new employees. And there
Do it. We need more money running from the government to the public anyway. We have seen with even in the GDP parameters right now, the GDP per capita is so fucking low in India, man. So fucking low. We need more money flowing through. They are, rather than giving all that money away to Adanis and Ambanis and whatever the fuck, why don't that money could go for this? The Adanis and Ambanis are getting tax cuts and bailouts for absolutely no reason. Absolutely zero reason. But so then what ends up happening? We don't have money for its people.
perks.
The people of India.
Of course, who can forget the perks? They need perks. And Bihar is not the only state that is facing this problem. Telangana CM Revanth Reddy is having trouble in real time as we speak. He admitted that the state had to take 4,000 crore loan from RBI just to pay salaries to existing employees.
Made all kinds of promises before you were elected, all the guarantees of the Congress. 4,000 rupees, for example, will be provided to unemployed youth. You made promises for farmers, for agriculture labor, and you are struggling to balance the budget.
आज मेरा state income is 18,500 crores per month. I have to pay salaries and pension 6,500 crores. I have to pay per month 6,500 crores on these debts and interest, capital and interest. So 13,000 crores if you are eating, if you are not eating, you are chai piye ya nahi piye, I have to pay 13,000 crores and before 10th. Only I'm getting 5,500 crores for all this welfare and development. This is what is Telangana status. It is not that Telangana is doing good.
So this government job.
So quite literally he's saying that the central government is not sending money back, which has been seen. The highest earners by government giving money to this states is the northern states. UP, Bihar get the lion's share of the taxation that is collected, while the lion's share of the taxation that is provided by the states come from southern states. If you had equality within it, all of that money that Telangana needs would be given back to Telangana. But there is no equality because the double engine Sarkar doesn't pay its own states that doesn't have a BJP government in it. That is political. That is not a function of the government is not paying. The government cannot do it. They obviously can do it. They have the money. Seriously, reduce all of the tax cut these corporates get. then pay all that money towards people. It's a very simple equation.
Job handout is not just a Narendra Modi problem or a product of Narendra Modi. It is a countrywide problem in multiple states. Is anyone stopping to ask whether having so many people in government is a good idea? I mean, if merely hiring people solved problems, we would all have affordable housing, less potholes on the street, mountains of garbage in the city will vanish, and
But hold
kids
on.
would not
Hold on. What? Sorry, I missed. What did he just say?
Narendra Modi problem or a product of Narendra Modi. It is a countrywide problem in multiple states. Is anyone stopping to ask whether having so many people in government is a good idea? I mean, if merely
It is a good
hiring
idea.
people solved problems, we would all have affordable housing, less potholes on the street, mountains of garbage in the city will vanish, and kids would
That is a problem with capitalism. That is not a problem with the size of government, because the government is not focused on you, the people of India. The government is focused on the corporates of India, the people who pay their donations. That is the problem. Jesus. Okay.
kids would not die of oxygen shortage. We would be a tip-top pristine
Capitalism
country,
problem.
but that is not happening.
That
is
is
it?
not a problem of
It's not. Why isn't it
bureaucracy.
happening? There is
Capitalism.
something off. On that,
Capitalism.
I have a bunch of thoughts. So, in conclusion, I want you to think about 3 questions. 1. Do we need these many people in government? 2. Are the
Yes.
people who are currently hired doing the right job? 3.
No.
Are the current employees capable of doing the job that they have been given? Let's start with the first one. Do we need these many people in government? Here is the problem. Our Babudam is a machine that scales input by filling up posts and seats, but doesn't scale output, which is by offering services that actually reach real life human beings.
Because capitalistic system, they want to show they are big, but it's just for show. It is not for actual work. Because actual work means you're going to have to start doing things in a socialistic way, where you have to tax more, the upper crust, where you have to provide services, where you have to provide people that like basic money, you have to give them basic income, you have to give them health care, you have to fix the roads, and all of this costs money. And they do this equation. For all of this money, we have to hire as people as well. We can just hire the people for doing nothing and not give the other things. So we save money, and that money can go to tax cuts for the rich and powerful, or we can give it to the people. Guess who wins in a capitalist system where all of these babus are getting directly like lakhs and crores of rupees from corporates directly in their pockets? Guess who wins?
And once this post is filled, they try to create more work for themselves to justify their existence. In 1995, historian C. Parkinson published an essay in The Economist where he proposed this. Work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion, which means the number of workers within bureaucracy tends to grow regardless of the amount of work that is being done. This happens because of 2 factors. 1. Officials want subordinates, not rivals. And 2. Officials make work for each other to justify their existence and their jobs. So, if there is one form to be filled to complete one task, bureaucracy adds unnecessary layers on top of it and makes people fill 3 forms, which will be checked by 3 different people in 3 different departments. Then each department will also have support staff. Then that support staff will be running around between departments, taking one form to the other, one file to the other. You see how that is working? The bureaucrats checking the forms will then create 2 other procedures that need to be followed, and then those will go to more departments and then more support staff which will be running around. And that is a government office where, yeah, Yeah, that's sad when you think about it. All of this is work being expanded to fill time. This is called the Parkinson's law. Look it up. In short, there is a high chance that our government, both center and state, has fallen victim to this, and it might not be a great idea to add more people to government. Okay.
That is not the problem. The problem is that to avoid responsibility, they are going into this circular logic. We need to push the government to do its job. When the government is pushed, everything of this is going to be rectified. It is not a matter of whether we are adding more people or not. Obviously, we need to add more people because people need jobs, and it is a direct responsibility of the government to give people jobs. Like, that's the reason why a government is there, to take care of you.
Second question. Are the people who are currently hired doing the right job? Most probably no. Currently, our government is bloated in middle management, but understaffed on the ground. We don't have enough frontline workers, doctors and nurses being the biggest example of this. The current nurse to population ratio of 1 nurse per 670 persons is significantly below the WHO's recommended 1:300. There is nearly 80% shortage of specialist doctors at the community health centers across rural India. Currently, we are seeing a severe shortage of teachers. And it's worse in a state like Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra. On top of it, in West Bengal, there was this instance.
See, that is the answer, right? That is the answer to the whole thing. Like, you want to increase, you still need to increase people who are part of the government. You just are increasing middle management when you have to increase like specialist jobs like teachers, nurses and etc. But they don't want to do that, because to do that means you have to provide things that are more socialist, and we are a capitalistic nation right now, which is the problem. This whole comes down to the political and governmental will to do it. This is not an issue with bureaucracy.
Of 25,000 teachers being sacked because they were caught in a recruitment scam. Remember that? Oh, and in Odisha, 6,000 teachers were temporarily hired because there is a crippling shortage. Things like this keep happening. The mota problem is that there are very few people that end up getting these specialized frontline skills, and even fewer that end up getting hired by the government. So instead, the state keeps adding more middle management pencil pusher types who keep creating work for themselves to justify their existence. And there are less people hired who are actually providing the output, the services to us. Third question. Are the current employees capable of doing the job that they have been given? This is a tricky one. The thing is, when people
Remember when I said there is a two-tier system in the government where people can just get into higher positions just by doing a few extra years of education? But it is for the privileged to get into higher positions, while the underprivileged cannot go up that fast and rise up as fast. So we end up with the same system we had for years, where the UC class is always in the top and the LC, NST and OBC class are always at the bottom, or really highly not represented as much with respect to the population of India. That is a problem. That is the problem. The people who are at the top do not know how to do the job, because the only reason they are there is because of nepotism. They do not know the ground realities of the job and what it entails.
people join the government, they are full of enthusiasm and motivation. I know a few of them as well. Duniya badal denge types, ekdam. But then the bureaucracy hits them in the face, gives them a desk to sit behind and grind those forms, dashboards and processes, and make shitty outdated websites that don't function, of course. At least that's what it looks like from the outside to me. I might not be the correct person to judge this, but it's still a question worth asking, and it is directly linked to the promises of hiring more people in work. Here's a wild thought. Why don't you find an answer for this? Yes, you. I'm directly looking at you. Yes, you find an answer for this.
We did find an answer. The answer is looking at us right in the face. So, see, the answer is easy. We need to move on from capitalism. That's it. There's nothing more to it.
Employee and understand what they do. Put on your management hat and then imagine what would happen if they did the same thing in a private sector job. Again, I'm not saying all government employees are useless pencil pushers. I would be very wrong to say that. But there are a lot of them out there who are. Maybe it's time to find them. Maybe it's time to find out if they need to be in those jobs and whether the taxpayer needs to pay their salaries and perks. Maybe leave a comment in the description below if you are a bureaucrat who is watching this, who right now hates me and wants to justify their job. I know you're watching and I'm sorry about this. Truly,
Leave a comment.
I didn't mean
Leave a comment in this video as well, because I definitely need the engagement.
to cause any personal hurt, my babudam friends. But still, it's a thought worth thinking about, is what I think. Bureaucrats are very powerful. I don't want to mess with them. I'm sorry. Anyway, I hope you think about this, dear viewer. Really think about this. I feel like we don't talk about our bureaucratic setup enough. When we see politicians offer more jobs, when you see all these promises being made before elections, we don't even think about the consequences of what would it do to our society. I feel we really need to ask whether so many government jobs need to exist in the first place. And why do our elected politicians use this as a get out of jail free card, where they don't need to solve an unemployment problem because government jobs. Take it. I, for one, would like to see this whole system undergo a reform. But that won't happen if we don't even acknowledge it as a problem. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.
A problem
more bunch of.
Obviously, there is a problem. Like, there is a problem in the Indian system. Like, acknowledging. I agree with him on that point. Anyway.
Thoughts coming your way. Please subscribe. Amazing content I do.
Oh, fuck. Where is my... Yes, again, please subscribe. Amazing content I do as well. I react to stuff and news, political commenting. And also, yes, I do long form too. Please subscribe. Thank you. I needed more. Okay, so let's take like 5 minutes here. Please. I need the 5 minutes. And we will be back in like 5 minutes to talk about India's GDP. So I'm going to go on this. Hello and welcome, my dear friends, MBs, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for part 2 of this, where we are going to talk about the GDP of India. So recently, our authoritarian dictator, let's say, has said that we are have grown in our GDP. And where is this fucking tweet? Where is this fucking tweet? Where is this motherfucking tweet? Yeah. So, just going to zoom in for you guys to see very nicely. It is one of the shortest tweets he has ever written, where he has quite literally said that the GDP of 8.2% growth. We had a growth in the GDP by 8.2% in the second quarter of 2025 to 26, and is very encouraging. Like, oh my God, yeah. It reflects the impact of our pro-growth policies and reforms. It also reflects the hard work and enterprise of our people. Our government will continue to advance reforms and strengthen ease of living for every citizen. Which is so fucking bullshit. Like, this is such fucking bullshit. I can't even, like, look at this first reply here. The IMF gives India a C in its GDP and other national account data, the second lowest fucking grade. It quite literally means there is so much fake data against the Indian GDP that the IMF is saying that you are fucking lying about your fucking GDP. Like, I don't, and we, like the good Indians that we are, we just eat it up, right? We just like nyam 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 nyam, सब चूतिया दे दो, हम बैठे हैं यहाँ पे खाने के लिए. I don't understand why we do this. That we just accept the shit that our prime minister says because he's more or not like, he's not lying technically, like on paper he's not lying. Indian government did say it's like 8.2%, but is it really true? No, obviously it's not true. So Reuters actually did a whole thing on this. It says like India posts fastest growth in 6 quarters, cushions against trade strains. Again, not true. India as a country is just whatever, and it has been going on since 2015. Such growth. See, our growth was somewhere here. Now it's somewhere here. Such growth from here and here. That is the bad thing. If you go down, like say your GDP growth is at like 10 or something, but then bad policies get your growth into like 4, and then you grow to 3. It is not a total. They are not looked at. Oh, the growth is negative from like 10 to 5. They'll be like, oh, our growth is 20% from 4 to 5. You see the issue? Also, our government spending has reduced considerably. That is a problem. That means the government is not working for you. Because what the government spends money on, other than giving discounts to Adani and Ambani right now, is on roads, it's on construction, it's on making India a more livable place. But it's not doing that clearly. Like, look at this drop here. That is the problem, right? The defense budget and the public administration is the same. What has gone down is manufacturing here. It's still not up till the peak that we are supposed to be. Everything is low as compared. But why is still the growth this big? That answer comes over here. The growth is shown so big. No, not really here. Not here. There. Is India exaggerating its economic growth? It is. So, why do I say India is exaggerating its economic growth? The Indian economic growth might be overestimated according to the country's former chief economic advisor. In a column published in the Indian newspaper Arvind Subramaniam said his research shows that India has changed how it measures growth, which is true. India did change that. And that's why you can't believe the figures. This has led to the gross domestic product have been overstated by 2.5% annually. Annual figures. And even the 8.6 is wrong according to an interview the recently Wire did. The Prime Minister Modi's panel of economic advisors has rejected this conclusion, adding it soon issue a point-to-point rebut, whatever. Subramaniam observations have, however, reignited concerns about the credibility of India's economic growth data. It was the fastest growing economy in 2018, but many leading economists have argued that the new methodology is flawed as it does not truly reflect the economy, obviously. See, they changed it in 2015. We were given like a news article about it as well that they changed it in 2015. Go look. In 2015, India changed its way to measure GDP. One of the major changes, GDP is now measured by using the market price rather than the basic costs. Simply put, that the GDP was used to be calculated based on the wholesale prices at which the product producers receive their product. Now it is calculated based on the market price paid by the customer. So rather consumer. So obviously you are going to show that yes, you have a higher like growth rate or the gross domestic product because you are basically checking how much people are charged after tax, after everything, not before. That like the gross domestic product is a product where how much are you producing, what is the cost of producing, and how much, and that what you're selling. But that is not considered anymore. What is considered is how much are you selling at a final cost after the profits for the company as well, which is the problem because that is something you're not supposed to consider. It is your countries, not the companies GDP, but they're adding the companies too. Like हमारी company, India की company, push. And the base year was shifted from 2004 to 5 to 11 to 12 to assess quarterly and annually growth figures. Since then, the methodology has been under scrutiny from economists and statisticians. Again, this is from 2019. Talking about 2015. तब से ये चूतियापा चल रहा है. All of this growth under Modi government is false for a reason. Now you can see the repercussions even today. The rupee has fallen again. Even when the dollar is falling, rupee has fallen even more considerably. You don't have jobs. You don't have money to feed your family. You don't have healthcare. You don't have shit. All you have is Jai Shri Ram. There is nothing more that you have in general. Mr. Subramaniam has reinforced these doubts by claiming that the economic growth for the period between the financial year of 11 to 12 and 16 to 17 is exaggerated. While official estimates put it at 7%, he pegs it the actual growth is 4.5%, which is a consistent throughput in all economists who talk about this. Consistent line between all economists. They say India's growth rate, as it is projected, it is at least 45% exaggerated, where the actual is only 60% of the figures that are shown right now. Since 2015, this new methodology came into effect. The growing numbers of experts and have questioned the high growth estimates under Prime Minister Modi. Despite his government's claim of rapid growth, unemployment touched 45-year high between 17 and 18. And it is still worse right now. Like it is still growing, the unemployment. People still don't have jobs. This is a very old article. And the government is still saying that their figures are right. Their figures are correct. 8.6 million. Bullshit. Like, how do we see this and be like, oh, the government is so correct in all of its statements? Because it's straight up lying to you. There are so many articles every single place where the government cannot be trusted. Like the IMF article right here, which was released on November 27, 2025. The IMF said that it has given a C on its GDP numbers. You cannot trust India's number. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, annually review has given India's national account statistics, which gives the key figures such as the GDP and the GVA, the gross value added, as grade C, the second lowest grade there is. Because you cannot trust this government. According to the IMF, this grade means that the data available have some shortcomings that somehow hamper surveillance. This is particularly significant as the government will release the national accounts of Q2 of this financial year on Friday. So this was like literally one day before. there are sizable discrepancies. For example, overall data category ABCD. India has received a B. There are 4 grades total ABCD, whatever. For sizable, it highlighted the outdated base year of 2011-2012 of which the data is based, like the comparison, how much is growing. And to use the wholesale price indices as a data source for deflators due to lack of producer prices indices. We are not considering the producer prices. It further pointed out periodic sizable discrepancies between the production and the expenditure, which means that if you are producing 10, you are saying that you have produced 20. And you are applying for like 20 ka paisa le rahe ho. That is called corruption. Approaches to measure GDP. This may indicate the need to enhance the coverage of expenditure approaches and the informal sector. See, the informal sector is reducing in India. Everyone knows that at this point. People are not even getting jobs in the informal sector. But somehow all of these figures are blown up. The Indian government has from beginning used the income approach to measure GDP by measuring the income of the government, people and companies. However, it also provides an estimate based on the expenditure approach, which attempts to quantify GDP through the spending done by these entities, like the final price point. They're using the final price point, not the producer point, which is the problem, because this is the gross domestic product, not the post-domestic product, not the net domestic product, I should say rather. Finally, the IMF has also highlighted the lack of seasonally adjusted data and the room for improvement in other statistical techniques used for quarterly national account data. See, if you are anyway into statistics, you know this, like if you are not trustworthy, you can manipulate data as you can. There is no way of proving that you have not manipulated the data. Like if you give me statistics, I can show you whatever you want based on my binning size, based on what tests I'm using and whatever. The point is, it is very easy to lie in statistics. That's why you need someone who is good at statistics as well as who is trustable. And IMF is saying that India is not trustable with its data. Finally, the IMF also highlighted the lack of on the granularity further breaks down gross fixed capital formation by institutional sectors published with a significant lag, and further disagreements of quarterly productions and expenditure approach estimates would allow for a more detailed analysis of economic trends, and IMF said. Yeah, it is a post-traumatic product under Modi. Yeah, I agree. Hold on, why is this? There you go. Under Modi, this is post-traumatic product. Yeah. Inflation data has also issues. Yeah. Obviously, everything has issues because he lies so much, man. This government lies so much. Regarding India's main inflation measure, the consumer price index, the IMF graded it as B, which means that the data provided have some shortcomings but is broadly adequate for surveillance. It said that while the CPI data scores well on its frequency and timeliness, I am not sure if the IMF knows how much shit they make up. Coming as it does once a month with only a month's lag, the rating B reflects outdated CPI base year, item, basket and weights set in 11 and 12. Again, we have to, according to the last article that we read, we should be considering 2004. Again, that was the year where Manmohan Singh was the prime minister and he was really good at this shit. Like India's GDP actually grew even with stringent practices under Manmohan Singh. That is the difference between having a prime minister who actually knows his economics and is actually a very well learned and educated person under it, and someone whose greatest achievement in economics is being a chaiwala, which also might be false. The other facets of the government data, the government financial statistics, external sector statistics, monetary and financial statistics, and internal sectorial consistency were all scored B, with the IMF pointing out strengths and weaknesses. Notably, account statistics received a C grade in its last year of review as well, with the IMF noting that this year that the data's weakness have remained broadly unchanged since the last report, but acknowledge that the plans to upgrade real sector statistics are advancing. What is false? Like the data they give? Yeah, it is completely false. Like I wouldn't trust like governmental data at all. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. That is also false. Like Modi is not even like being truthful about his backstory.
Has given
Anyway,
us a
I
glimpse
wanted
of
to
the
talk
main
about, yeah, so this is government moves to tweak formula to calculate GDP and inflation again. This is from 2 days ago.
changes in store when the GDP, inflation and IIP will be calculated on the revised base year of FY23 from the current base year of FY12. Lata joins us now with the major changes in the formula. Lata, what will this mean? What can we expect?
Oh, well, the conference gave us a lot of fodder saying how they are going to, the MOSPI, the Ministry of Statistics, is going to increase its sources and improve the methodology of calculation of GDP, CPI and IIP. Just remember, the base year is going to be changed from the earlier 2011-12, or rather the current 2011-12. The new base year will be 22-23. But the first CPI will be announced only on Feb 12. Which means two monetary policies don't have to bother about a new CPI. The budget also will not have to bother about a newly calculated GDP. You know, it can throw things out of gear. So both the next two policies and the budget are out of danger of any, numbers being rewritten. The big changes that MOSPI announced is that for non-financial, that is manufacturing and such other companies, they are going to use corporate data activity-wise and not enterprise-wise as it is currently used. Very quickly, to give you an example, for instance, Maruti would be originally and in the counted as manufacturing, but now they will take out manufacturing. If they're doing any trading, they will treat it separately and put it in the appropriate categories in the GDP. Now, this could mean that manufacturing may look a little smaller when the new series comes, but there are this kind of fine-tuning that they're doing. The other thing that
the fine-tuning is going to end up being like, oh, we are having like a lot of, like we can inflate the price here, even if manufacturing looks lower. Our overall GDP also seems higher. They are never going to go to a position where they are being truthful about the actual GDP. And to be fair, like actual GDP as a metric for growth, like does not matter in the first place, but whatever. Yeah, I will. I need time. As you know, like too much work right now. Let's do it tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll do like Dhruv Rathi, we'll do Being Human, and we'll do something else.
MOSPI said is that they're going to use GST data to corroborate the corporate sector data in terms of revenue, etc. And the GST data will also be used for regional allocation of the GVA. Now, last couple of years, the Ministry of Statistics has also started unincorporated companies survey. That is called as-used survey. That will be used to give for the annual GDP calculation the amount coming from the informal sector. You know, the formal sector GDP is counted quite easily. Informal sector will be counted through this. But this data will not be available quarterly. Only the annual GDP can be done on this fashion. The quarterly GDP will only extrapolate the informal from the formal as it does these days. The MOSPI has also told us that for manufacturing, they will use double deflation. There was a lot of criticism about the single deflation. That is, they will deflate output prices, input prices, and then give you the exact value add in the manufacturing space. But for the non-manufacturing space, they will have to continue with either the single deflation method or what they call the single extrapolation method, which is still a very sophisticated and internationally accepted method of calculating value add. Very quickly, coming to CPI, the Ministry of Statistics said that they're enhancing the number of markets, towns and items that they are covering. They're going to include fresh administrative data as well as online data. That's very important. That's a new set of data that they're going to include, since so many of us.
So at the end of the day, they can just make up data. See, it's really easy to make up data on the internet. How can you be trusted by doing this?
By so many things online. Also, they're going to give more granular details. So the number of items for which you will get CPI will be more. The new CPI release, which will come on February 12, 2026, will therefore even look very different because there will be more items. Coming to IIP, the focus is again going to be more healthy sources, For every item, they want at least 4 factories, establishments producing it. And also, they're going to continue to replace. If one factory is not giving them data or it has become non-operational, they will quickly replace it in real time with another factory so that the data is always robust. There is a new way of calculating, more robust real-time way of calculating called chain-based indices. That is work in progress. Eventually, that and seasonally adjusted IIP will also come.
So then the question remains, why? Why is India's per capita so bad if all of this is happening? If the GDP is rising so much? We have seen like what is per capita of India right here is $2,934 per person at a GDP of 4.19 trillion. Just look at the difference between Japan. It's 1 point lower than us at 33,000 and we are not even 3,000. One above her is 55,000. We are the lowest in the top 10, even though we are on the 4th position. Is because the GDP data is not real. The GDP for more or less is not a real statistic to check like the growth of a country. It is quite literally like, oh, how much is the top selling point of your country? Like, okay, 4.19 trillion we sold. Oh, so but per person, how much technically did you earn from all that selling? Just 2,000. You know why? Because there is so much concentration of wealth at the top in India, so much that all of that GDP is coming from the top. Then the rest is bloated. We already know Adani is bloating his own share value. We know it because of Hindenburg. We know it because of a lot of different things. But because of that, India's GDP is already inflated. And then now you are changing the formula to change it in a way of like, oh, we are only going to check final prices. We are not going to check production prices. So it inflates even more. You're changing it again next year. So it's going to inflate even more. To next year, I'm predicting like we are going to have a growth of like 15% and everyone's going to say, oh my God, it's so unreal. 15% ka kaise ho gaya? And then like 10 more people are going to go into poverty per second. That is going to happen. And like the per capita is also going to go down as compared to this year and the inflation, the current rate. I can guarantee you this is going to happen because India is lying. Like the Indian government is lying about the GDP prices. That's why we have a C on IMF. That's why it does like the GDP data is not reflecting the conditions of people within the country itself, where we have so much poverty and extreme poverty, and we are still thinking, oh, GDP, we are the 4th largest like GDP wise country in this world, which is just not true. We should be like at least like reduce like a few trillion from that 4.19 trillion. We should at least be at like the 25th position without all of this. Again, 40% of the data cannot be trusted within this data because it is just inflated. We were going to cover one more thing here, but it is a talk that is an hour long and I don't want to keep it more than 2.5 hours. We have just 2 minutes left, mostly because it is a pain to edit. So we'll continue this tomorrow for sure. We'll be there like way early than this, like at 6 or 7 p.m. Indian time. Anyway, so thank you everyone for coming. I'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m. sharp. Thank you so much. Shabba khair. Good night. Have a nice evening.